Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So this is the first part of a series that I'm doing on CryptoPunks, or maybe depending on how far I get on with it. So CryptoPunks is kind of interesting, not because it's a game, because it's not a game at all. It is one of the first NFT projects. And when we think more about NFTs and how they're going to work in games, I think it's kind of interesting actually to come back to something like CryptoPunks, which is kind of shows NFTs in their most kind of primitive form, in their most kind of interesting form, in the sense that they're in the purest form, I guess, because there is no gameplay around it. So, quick history: CryptoPunks. I'm looking at this in OpenSea, which is the marketplace for Ethereum-based NFTs, which is exactly what CryptoPunks is. So, it started off as kind of like an art project. So there are 10,008. It says here CryptoPunks. I think officially there are 10,000. No more to be minted. They just kind of minted them all. They were kind of these little kind of art faces that were randomly created and then just put up for sale. And what's interesting is obviously people have tried to kind of work out valuations of them and see why some are valued more than others. Obviously, some might appeal to us in a aesthetic way to some degree. Some are more rare. So we have these kind of zombie ones in green here, and all the different attributes on there. There's different probabilities of them turning up. This one here is a VR. Got pink hair and VR and all this sort of stuff. Don't you see here? So you've got black lipstick, pink with hat, VR, and female. So we can kind of get an idea of kind of what these CryptoPunks are about. What's interesting is a lot of people into blockchain really like these. Spend a lot of time thinking about them and buying them. But obviously what's interesting is when we think about games, we think about NFTs being useful in a game. So you buy a more expensive NFT and that helps you do better stuff in the game than a cheap NFT, and that partly the pricing is based on kind of the ability of that in the game. And that's kind of one way in which we can create ideas about valuation. Obviously with a CryptoPunk, they're in and of themselves, they have no value apart from the artistic value and that people might create from or think about from them. What's also interesting is, so normally in OpenSea, you go to OpenSea and you can buy things within OpenSea. CryptoPunk, I think, because they were so early, probably use a different standard, and so this is one of the few projects, although it runs on Ethereum and they are NFTs. You can only buy them on the CryptoPunk webpage. So this is kind of interesting because the other thing, what you might do in OpenSea, you could use OpenSea to kind of build this valuation model of kind of what attributes are being sold, what CryptoPunks are being sold and what attributes in those CryptoPunks are, and then can we work out that pink hair, or a combination of pink hair and VR would be worth something. You could kind of do that model, but we can't do it because the only trading happens on the CryptoPunks website. So let's go to CryptoPunks website. So this is kind of interesting. This is obviously the same thing we're looking at here. This is telling us the same kind of attributes. And what's interesting here, we have the listing. So it was claimed in the 23rd of June 2017, so quite a bit earlier than CryptoKitties. We can see there was some bidding going on there, and it was sold for 0.10 of an ETH, and it's sold again for 0.5 of an ETH, and then it sold for 0.35 of an ETH. So this is not listed for sale, and I have to allow it to access my MetaMask in order to even interact excuse me. I have to allow access to MetaMask to interact with the website. So now I've connected my MetaMask wallet, and now I could do a bid. So I could bid here. So we knew it sold for 0.35 2 years ago now. So we could say, let's put a bid in for 0.4. That bid's gone through, so you can see that bid is now complete. So we can see here that I've put a bid on for that. But obviously I can't buy it. The person has to accept the bid. This punk hasn't been touched for 2 years, so presuming the person who has access to the account still has access to it. Maybe not. Maybe they've lost their private key. But this is the kind of stuff that's interesting with CryptoPunks, because it is this a lot of blockchain things, projects have this kind of quite a lot of data around them. CryptoPunks doesn't really at all. And what's really interesting is if we look here, so this is kind of how this works. Is these are all the CryptoPunks, and the ones that are in the shaded red. Oh, here we go. So punks with blue backgrounds have been claimed. Punks with red backgrounds are available for sale, and punks with purple backgrounds have an active bid on them. So, so we could look at. Let's have a look for one. Say this one. So details of here. Another female punk. We can see she's got clown eyes, hot lipstick, stringy hair. So she's being offered on sale for $1.19, so $240. So if I wanted to buy that, I could buy that. But obviously, last time it was someone put a bid on for 0.45, and it was out for sale at the start of the year at 0.2. And we, there's no trading, other trading kind of volume on that. So we don't really know, what's anything worth. It's almost impossible to tell. We could look at some of these purple ones maybe and see if that gives us an idea. So this is currently owned, it's not for sale. There's a bid of 0.6 ETH on it. So we can see again this one. I mean, what's quite interesting in a sense that because CryptoPunks kind of just runs on its own web page, that you kind of they can kind of tighten up the UI. So this is kind of quite neat that we can see when it was claimed. We can see there were some bids with, very low bids withdrawn. Someone offered, I don't know what's going on. There seem to be some very odd bids going on. Someone offered 540 ETH, but it actually sold for sold for $44. A long time ago, and then someone's put a bid on. Again, the bid's almost 2 years old. So again, we don't really have, since this CryptoPunk has been claimed in July 2017. There's been various bids, and it did sell there. It did sell. Okay, tell a lie. So it has sold to someone else. But unless these people are putting these punks on sale themselves, it's kind of quite opaque, really, about kind of what's going on. And because if you were an OpenSea, you could be looking at these sort of things, and it would tell you what the last one sold at, and you could say ones that are for sale, what's the lowest bid on them. You don't get any of this. You don't get any of this kind of fine-grained discovery mechanic, which obviously most people go, I'm interested in CryptoPunks. I want to buy a cheap one, particularly for this, where they don't even have any. There's no value in terms of what they look like. So I might just want to buy one. And maybe someone is selling theirs for 0.1 ETH, but I can't find it anywhere. So it's kind of really, in a sense, when you start looking at CryptoPunks, you think, oh, this is a great idea of we could work out how is the audience building intrinsic value in what is an aesthetic NFT. But unless you build something very clever, I think, to scrape all the data, the developer's not helping you do this. So there's no, and actually we were talking about kind of marketplace. This is actually a super inefficient market, because presumably there are people who want to sell them, but unless I click through all the time and find one, that someone may be selling theirs for 0.1 ETH, but how am I going to find that? Because there's no way of actually doing it. I could go to the Discord chat, I suppose. So maybe that'll be in the next video. But this is announcing bids and offers. I suppose offers is the sale price, isn't it? So maybe I need to go to the Discord chat and see what's going on there. But it is kind of a bit, you kind of think you've kind of worked out something that's going to be interesting. And we find, say, this one has transferred, but it looks like it's not been sold, never been sold. Okay, one other thing to have a quick look at is this CryptoPunks bot on Twitter, which I guess is kind of related probably to what's going on Discord. And this tells you, announces the sale. So we can see here, this punk is sold for 1.6 ETH, and it gives you it gives you a dollar price. This one sold for 3. This one sold for 0.7, 5, 0.6. So we can kind of get an idea how these are selling. So we can work our way through that, and I guess you could kind of scrape this data off and create something. But it's looking like that one. That's a kind of cheap one. Went for 0.5 ETH. But the problem I guess we have at the moment is it's very unclear how you can connect buyers and sellers. and because the buyers haven't got enough visibility to know what people are prepared to spend, so they're putting very high ETH prices on there, I think, and it's very hard for unless you're very integrated into this community, it's very hard to actually be able to buy any of these, because the only way, if I wanted to buy one, the only way I can buy one is to find one that's on sale that is for a reasonable price, which very few of them seem to be, or just go around bidding on loads of them. And the problem is if you bid, you actually lock up your ETH effectively in the contract until you withdraw your bid or it's accepted. That's a very inefficient system, which to me, inefficient markets always drive the price up. And that's not to say that these shouldn't sell for the prices that they're selling on. But it is when you don't have a lot of transparency, then those kind of perceptions can stay in place. Anyway, I think it's interesting. I think quite a lot more research needs to be done on crypto bots to see exactly what's going on here. And we'll see if we can come up with any ideas of how to value these things. So I will keep doing videos about that. But thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you again soon.